Hi there, this is Marge, and I'm going to cover a few things today. First, I'm going to do an updated walkthrough of my peppers and be harvesting some peppers along the way. I'm relatively new to growing peppers, so take what I've learned with a grain of salt. Okay, so first, we're going to talk about habanero peppers. Last time I showed you that I had one habanero pepper grown from seed, and since this video has happened, there have been a few that have been ready for harvest. As you can see here, this one's ready for harvest too. So what I generally do is I just use a pair of scissors and I go in and harvest that way. See, you don't want to pull, because if you do, you could damage the plant. So I like to use scissors. So also, when we went through this one was the one that had gone from seed, but I was so excited about habaneros that I got two others from Home Depot, as you see here and here. These are almost the same size as the one, let me see if I could get a good picture, the one I did from seed. So they're growing really fast. But I think the main difference is, if you look, this is a 5-gallon grow bag. And if you look at the one from seed, this one is only a 3-gallon. So peppers definitely need a lot of space to grow because they have deep roots. But if you look closely at these habaneros, there are more coming. So I like to harvest peppers, when they're ready, so that'll encourage more growth. So here and here, but even on the Home Depot, the Lowe's ones, sorry, I didn't get them from Home Depot, I got them Lowe's. You can see buds starting to happen here and here. So in the last 3 weeks since I did this, these have gotten absolutely huge. So the next thing I want to show you are my miniature pepper plants I did from seed starting in October, November of last year. So first off, this is one that was grown in our grow tent in the basement. And you can see it's doing a lot of flowering. But this was the chocolate bell pepper, miniature bell pepper. And you can see, right, this one is turning dark brown. I'm going to wait until it turns brown before I harvest. But you get the gist of how it's progressing. Also, over here, if you remember, I was growing a bunch of miniature bell pepper plants, but these were hidden in our basement with an aphid problem. So they're recovering nicely. If you look, you can see peppers are growing here, and it's flowering. But this red one right here, it looks ready. Since we talked last time, I've harvested some yellow ones, and this red one looks ready. It's miniature, and you're like, why would I want miniature peppers? What's the point? Sorry, I'm gonna get this. But I'm gonna link below a recipe on, if you have a bunch of these, you can make a nice dill, sugary herb, which is just delightful. So I'll link that. So anyway, these are recovering quite well from the aphid problem. I chose miniature bell peppers for the inside because I didn't need or want anything to get too huge. So one thing you might be asking is, Marge, why don't you just put peppers in the ground? Well, we have limited space here. So we use a lot of container planting to grow the things you see here today. So anyway, the next type of pepper I'm growing is a series of bell peppers, both Purple Beauty and regular giant horizon bell peppers. So if you scroll back here, or if you look back here, these peppers are quite huge. The one in the far back is almost the size of that fence. It's almost 4 feet tall. They're doing quite well. In the previous video, I had expressed concern because this particular plant here had lots of damage, but look how healthy it's grown, right? Nothing to harvest yet, but you can see that bell peppers are finally growing. Also here, see a bell pepper? It's pretty big, and it's actually very firm. It's ready to be harvested, but I'm waiting for it to turn red. So I'm gonna leave it on there for a while. You can tell when a pepper is ready for harvest by its firmness, and this is very firm. It's ready to go, but I just am choosing not to harvest it because I want red. So I'm gonna wait for it to change a little bit. So in the back here, we also have a series of giant horizon bell peppers. Back here and here, they're doing quite well. And one of them's even starting to turn red over there. So I'm just gonna leave it on. Even this one, you saw it in the last video, it was small in starting. I said I thought it was a bell pepper, and it is. So these are growing quite nicely. Now, one thing I learned, I was not labeling properly. And to make sure you guys understand, I'm not senile. I was just very overwhelmed when I planted from seed. So if you look at this here, you can see how many things that are growing, and we were growing from seed in March. And it was just too much. But it worked out. I think I'll do another video on how I winterize these peppers when the winter comes. So I'm not going to plant these all again with the hope of, like, okay, they go dormant in the winter and they'll come back again, because peppers last a few years. Pepper plants last a few years. One thing I learned about this one that was damaged, I didn't know what one it was. I believe this is Purple Beauty, because you can see the beginning or the top. You see that purple of that bell pepper coming in right here. So I believe this plant is really a Purple Beauty plant. So since we've talked last, or I've shown you last, this Purple Beauty here, it's really huge, has yielded a couple of peppers. They don't get as big as the giant horizon bell peppers, but they're still very tasty and pretty. This is still a little soft, so I'm not going to harvest it, even though it is purple, along with this one, right? It's just not ready, and you can see even more are being grown, or growing here. So I have 2 Purple Beauties at least, and I'm not going to harvest them just yet. So it's very encouraging that the one that had so much damage has come back strong and is actually growing peppers now. Now, these Anaheim Peppers are doing quite well still. I have quite a few Anaheim bell peppers. So if you look, this one here is very big. And let me show you in context to my hand. It's as tall as my hand, taller. So I think I'm going to harvest this right now. Why? You're like, well, Marge, you're just harvesting one. Well, I like to harvest because, you know, as these grow, right, it's a strain on on the plant. So I like to harvest. Look at that. It's beautiful. So the last 4 I harvested of Anaheim peppers, I made a very snazzy meal, and I'll put a link into the recipe. It was just delightful. So, Anaheim pepper. Let me put this here. Now, one thing you want to do is when you're going from plant to plant, you want to clean your utensils here. So this is the what I'm using to cut. You want to clean them in case there's any disease. So I like to use a little hydrogen and clean here with you could use a tissue or a cotton ball. And that is so, in case something's wrong, you're not, spreading a disease from plant to plant. That's just me. Anyway, so on to, if you notice, I've reorganized all of this mess. Before I was having a tough time. So, since we've talked last, I was also growing cayenne peppers, and this was the mistaked plant in the middle that I planted with the cayenne peppers. You can see one here. It's turning red. It's almost ready. I could pick it now. As far as I think I will, right? Again, don't yank on the plant, right? Just cut it and be gentle, right? Because you don't want to damage the pepper plant. It's not like tomatoes where it's easy to twist. You want to just be careful. Now, I want to note something. 2 weeks ago, no, last week, I harvested a bunch of jalapenos, and there are more that are back. And I made these great jalapeno poppers that were just delicious. Now, I want to point something here. See here? You start seeing those lines? That is the hottest it is. They're going to be very spicy. Now, the next phase of this color here, this cracked, is when it turns red. Once it turns red, it's spicy, but it has a nice sweet flavor to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to harvest these because I believe harvesting encourages more growth of peppers, right? So I'm going to cut these. Let me clean these off. Now I'm going to cut. And I'm going to cut this one too. Now, when you are using jalapenos, right, you should figure out what flavor you like the most. I made jalapeno poppers of different readiness levels, and I almost killed my husband. He literally, because one of them was extremely hot and he wasn't prepared for it. Here's the other second jalapeno plant. See, it also has cracked skin. That means it's really hot, and that heat is going to leak through these cracks. Some people actually put gloves when they're handling these. I do not. I haven't. I'll just wash my hands after this video. So this has a lot of jalapenos too. So I'm going to go to the back now, and you could see my pepper plants in the raised beds. Now, I think before this one here, remember I had these small cayenne pepper plants that were being covered. This one here had just one, and it turned red, so I harvested it. But this was being covered by a cabbage, which I've since moved. A cabbage plant, which I've since moved. So these are doing well. They have they have some cayenne peppers. They're kind of small. And like I mentioned before, I thought they were going to die. But now that I've given it more space, starting some seedlings, some lettuce seedlings, hopefully these will have a chance to grow up. Now, the last place were those other jalapenos for a total of 4 jalapeno plants. Let's see how they're doing over here. So here's one jalapeno plant. It's gotten really huge. And look at, this is actually a nice size to harvest them, and they're not going to be as spicy. I'm going to wait a little longer though. But down, oh, look at this, you guys. This is going to be heat. You see that? Oh my goodness. That, I'm going to let that turn red. I'm just going to. And this one I'm going to let turn red too. See those cracks? Oh my gosh, that heat is going to, all three of these are ready to go right now. And you can harvest jalapenos at any time, right? It's just, you want to wait till they're, you know, a good 3 inches or 4 inches. This is nice. I'd let it get a little bigger. It's very smooth, so it's going to have a spicy taste, but more mild. And here's the other jalapeno plant. So let me back up. I had already harvested a bunch to encourage more growth. You can see more flowers are coming. And look at these. Ooh, that looks beautiful. So I might, that heat's going to be terrible. It's going to be insane. My husband's going to be very, very mad. But you can see little baby ones. So I might go ahead and harvest these two. But anyway, I just wanted to walk you through my peppers. Ooh, look at this little bunch here. And so you can see the status. Everything seems to be coming back. The ones that were damaged are coming back. And let's see how things progress. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.